So it's pretty interesting that Jeremy Pratt, I think, is somewhat unique in the Starlight studio. And it's very interesting to see him paired with Kevin Kline. It's interesting that Jeremy has worked in both abstraction and figuration, because those two elements are very pronounced in Kevin Kline's work. And you particularly see a connection with Jeremy in the More Stars Than in the Sky series that Kevin did, where successive cutouts are laid behind old movie star headshots, and that kind of connects very nicely with the kind of abstractions that come up in Jeremy's work. I see the intent. It's not a slapdash thing. You look at a very complex abstract that he does, and there's a very conscious set of decisions throughout, in terms of line, in terms of color, and in terms of composition.
All right, well, I'm an artist and poet, Jeremy. I'm here with Kevin Kline, and to ask him a few questions about being an artist, I guess,
Sure.
and everything. What made you decide to be an artist?
What made me decide to be an artist?
Or what inspires you?
Yeah, those are two very different questions.
Right,
I think
true.
I'll start with one.
Okay.
I think it was out of necessity what inspired me to be an artist, if I were to say that, because I grew up in a small town. There wasn't a lot to do, and I was always kind of like, independently entertained.
Okay.
For the most part, and I think also for the most part it was really about. It was a relief for me because there was no art in my town. There was no reason to do it. It wasn't like there was any kind of scene or a group of people that you hung out with that did it. I just always did it, and I think when I first started getting posters on my wall when I was 10, 11 years old, when you get into that, I all of a sudden wanted to be the person to put the poster on the wall. I wanted to decorate almost.
Right.
Stuff that I wanted to see.
Right.
And I think that had a lot to do with it, because I kind of was just I can make something like that, and I'll make it, and I'll decorate my own space. And I think that's kind of where it all started from. And then it's just it's therapy for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? It makes me feel good to focus on something and get it onto something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
I think what inspires me as an artist is music I listen to, or it's other artwork that I really like. Artists, or just the joys of all kinds of everyday life, and it's just a pleasure to share that talent with the world or something like that. Because like you're saying, I like how you said art is therapeutic. It's great to just be expressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's lots of things inspire me, from what I see on the news, or whether I see in a movie that I really enjoy, or just things that look like an art form, like a music video or something like that. And, art came to me maybe within the be more spontaneous as an artist, like maybe 8 years ago or something like that. But, I really engross it now as an artist, because I love what I do.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, we come from a similar place. I just like simple things, and I live a life, and then when I come across those things, for some reason, certain things hit a little button in me, and it makes me need to make something.
Right.
It just kind of initiates just like an urgency, where
right.
kind of my own language and communication with myself. It was a way for me to digest stuff that was coming into me.
No, I did color when I was younger, but maybe didn't take it full extent seriousness.
You make it up for it now.
Yeah, make up for it
Yeah.
now. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, like, I hear what you're saying because, when you're young, you don't know how to express those
Yeah.
as much as when you're an adult. It's more easy to get out those emotions, or it's
Yeah, no, I mean,
easier,
I think it's different platforms. I think you get, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
You almost you learn there's other areas that you can do it in. You know what I mean? I think.
Right. That's how I feel when I see art or write poetry. I look for words that just pop out, or just images that pop out. Like lately, when I do my art, I'm influenced by, like, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know how to call it. Like, it's sort of like dark, surreal artwork and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know that.
You do. It's great stuff, but I mean.
I think that's something I find interesting because I always run into this. Like, I end up making stuff that, like, I can't almost be accountable for, like, because it's a different part of who I am. You know what I mean? It would be silly to think that art is only, like, all about light and beauty and whatever, because if it has to deal with life, it deals with all of it.
Yeah, the darkness. Because darkness is actually therapeutic just as much as the light and beauty of whatever it may be. And I've seen your pictures of when you burned some stuff. That's cool. But
yeah.
Is it a delicate process because I bet the burning goes so quick and that.
Yeah, it's delicate and not, because fire's not delicate.
Right.
At all. I think my studio at that time was like in an attic of the house that I was living in, and it was winter.
Okay.
And it was cold. You know what I mean? And my hands were cold. So
Right.
I think I had like a little ceramic bowl that scraps were going into, and I just lit it on fire and did like a little like thing like that. But like in there was like a part of an image that had been cut out, and I kind of just watched it kind of like, fade away.
That's neat.
And I was like, that's really beautiful. I want, and because I'm always someone who likes to make up these weird techniques. I'm like, I wonder if I can like use that.
Because of the burning.
Right. You know what I mean? And it is like kind of a weird action, like, like a burning is kind of like lots of what I do is really destructive. I usually am like, there's additive and reductive processes. I am more on the like reductive end of things. Like I take things away,
How'd you do I think you did like these swirls over people's faces, or.
Oh, like they look like headshots, a bunch
Yeah,
of headshots?
yeah.
Yeah, those are all like carved. And the ways those were made, I just would make these. I called them bandages, and I'd get like a bunch of kind of like magazine scraps that were colorful, and not really pay attention to what they were, and I would just kind of like combine them together like that, tape the edges, so they're all kind of like one packet, and then I would just kind of literally after I had cut out the face opening, just adhere that to the back, and then just carve through, and then react, and the carving would change based on what images I wanted to keep that I was cutting away from, and which ones that I wanted to go and just follow shape. And then they just do that until I felt done. Some of them, are like 7 layers.
They looked wavy when I saw them. They actually looked kind of wavy, like waves on the ocean.
It's the organics of it, and I think what I like about it, because I like giving up control a lot too when I do stuff. So the burning, I only have so much control over.
Right.
I don't really pay attention to what images are behind when I make those packages, because I like kind of like the discovery part of it, and like I like dancing with material. So I think they end up becoming really organic, naturally looking. But I think it's interesting, but they think we have like similar qualities in our stuff. And what I find interesting, because I'm easier at finding what isn't similar, is like there's some color in the work that I do, but like I'm terrified of color.
Really?
Not because like I have a phobia, but because it's really, it's like really delicate. But you use color quite a bit, like very vibrant colors, right?
Right. I love color. I'm actually one that loves color, and I'm inspired by like the Easter Island or the pyramids of Egypt and everything, and I love also just surreal, abstract stuff that just makes people go, "Ooh, wow!" I love mythology too, from anything from the stories of like Medusa's head, and just
Perseus, man,
right, Perseus, or
the demigod.
the Odyssey.
I mean, when I look at these, I mean, these have these kind of weird clashings of like mythology and beings, interactions. And like I'm seeing things that are somewhere between like totems and like statues, but they're also kind of like deities, and then they have like these human figures, and then like, there's a huge narrative involved in one of these pieces, I'm assuming.
There is.
You know what I mean? And it's not even just what's in the piece, it's like all the stuff kind of like that pushed it out of you onto the, you know,
it did.
Onto the thing. And so tell me like what's going on in one of these images too, from your lips.
Well, my structures or robots, or what I like to call them, they're kind of like deterrents, as like warnings, as what inspired me as to doing that is the human connection with foreign things that we're not used to. We're always so curious, like, oh, what if I touch this, or what if I go into this structure? We're just too stupid to know, like, oh, don't go in there, or something like that.
Kind of like, yeah, they're like wandering in with this arrogance, thinking that like, you know, these things are here to be like, don't do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, you want us to farm all of your land and take your resources. I hear you. And we're like, no, 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 no.
Right.
Yeah. And I like that. I think that's a really interesting concept. Also, the big difference that we haven't talked about between your and my work is like, I don't actually make anything per se. You know what I mean? Like I use pre-existing stuff to make stuff. So I always start from like the opposite of a blank page.
Okay.
Where like I'm kind of like looking for like material, and then I kind of look how it falls apart, so then I can see how it can fall together.
Even if you work from something that's already been started, it's still, it's a stepping point. It's a stepping stone of a building block to get to the next stage.
Yeah.
I feel artists are like full of emotion or something when they do it, or something like that.
I don't know, or the lack of. I have no idea. I can never tell.
Right, because they are what shape you into the person that you are, and what you want to become in life.
Yep, for better or worse.
Right, for better or for worse. It's like a waterfall.
Yeah.
You know, the water just keeps flowing and flowing.
Yeah.
And
whether it's pounding you in the face, or whether it's like, you know, like spinning a wheel that is like making energy for like, you know, something else.
Right.
You know, it's either way, but like I think it's like that's the, you know, I think Maggie had a good instinct when she kind of paired us up for that. I think that reason, I think we have similar mentality of the way that we process stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.